Hi, hi, hi. It is time to talk about some personality tests. And it has been a day. I wanted to get this video out so much earlier, and just a bunch of things happened. So Freckles and I have been doing a bunch of research today, and you can tell because my hair is deeply in its Darlene circa Roseanne, the original series, like seasons 1 and 2. That's the era it's decided to be in today. I can't fix it. I've tried everything. But I was so excited when they started talking about this personality test on the latest episode of Sister Wives. And as soon as they started talking about it, I was like, I know what that is. It's the Enneagram test. And I know in previous shorts I had said it differently. My Midwest was showing. I went and looked it up so I could say it correctly, or at least not put my Midwest words onto everything. But before we get started, I really need to let you know for this one that I am Cody, and this video is for entertainment purposes only. These are not facts. These are just my opinions about a television show that I like to watch and snark on every day, and also my opinions on what I read and researched on the internet. Please do not take these as facts. I am not an expert in this, but I will link you all of the resources down in the description below. If you want to go and look at any of the resources that I used today, specifically to find out more information, please do. Anybody who's looking for more information is always welcome here. So we are going to start with the bare bones basics. The Enneagram is just a tool to kind of help you understand personality types. And the personality types are ranked. Not ranked. That's the wrong word to use. Personality types are named. So there are some really important things to note. So the basic personality type of a person is not going to change. It is not going to change as they age. That is your basic personality type. Yes, you can grow within that personality type to, the word they like to use is integrate differently with your personality type as you age, but you are not going to just suddenly leap numbers. I'm a 6. I've been a 6 my entire life. I will continue to be a 6. No type is inherently male or female in nature. It is broad spectrum enough to encompass everyone. So you're not going to find one that's like specifically, this is a nurturing person who must be a woman. No, that's not how that works. And then secondarily, or tertiarily, my apologies, the number types are value neutral, meaning the number has no value. A 9 is not better than a 4 because 9 is a larger number. And importantly, no type is better or worse than any other either. My husband's a 2, I am a 6. He does not have more value because he is a 2 or because I am a 6. Freckles is a Sour Patch Kid. She's not going to take this test because I don't speak Sour Patch Kid. Huh, do a baby. Okay. So that's where our basics lie. So very quickly, I grabbed the names of the numbers. We're not going to focus so much on the names. It's just kind of a fun thing. So in order from 1 to 9, you have the reformer, the helper, the achiever, the individualist, the investigator, the loyalist, the enthusiast, the challenger, and the peacemaker. We're going to dive into what those are, but we are going to dive into specifically the Sister Wives. So firstly, let's start with what we seem to have established from Janelle and Mary, that they are a 9 and a 3, respectively. Robyn, by Christine's definition, seems to be a 4. That is what I'm going to go with. That's the assumption I'm going to make. I am alleging Robyn is a 4. I also believe that Christine is probably a 7. So let's grab information on those types. The Enneagram Institute expands those names into 4 words, so that's a good place to start. So 3 would be adaptable, excelling, driven, and image conscious. 4s are expressive, dramatic, self-absorbed, and temperamental. 7s are spontaneous, versatile, acquiescative, meaning they acquiesce, and scattered. 9 is receptive, reassuring, complacent, resigned. So those are some real basics. And I'm sure as you're hearing those words, you can kind of see those in the people that we're talking about. But we're going to dive even deeper. I went to another website called Integrative 9 to find a more expanded description that I thought was a little bit more helpful. So the type 3, which is what we believe Mary to be, would be the competitive achiever. 3s are doers and tend to be physical, success-oriented, and task-driven. They project a polished persona and image. They're competitive and will make sacrifices to achieve their goals and appear successful. They risk becoming overstretched or overworked and may resort to deception or expediency to win. At higher integration, they work towards self-acceptance and authentic influence, connecting their heart and their hands. Then we have the type 4, which they call the intense creative. 4s search for meaning, depth, and authenticity. They're emotionally sensitive and attuned to their environment, creative and expressive as individuals. They may seem emotionally moody, dramatic, and focused on their own needs or what is lacking in their lives. As they integrate, 4s get in touch with their inner creative voice and are able to separate their identity and their emotions. Type 7, the enthusiastic visionary. 7s seek variety, stimulation, and are fun-loving types, tackling challenges with optimism and engaging in life in a future-oriented way. In groups, they bring creativity, energy, and optimism, and easily make friends. They may seem distracted, hedonistic, insensitive, or irresponsible to others. 7s are often unhappy, but deny this, escaping into hyperactivity and impulsive pleasure seeking. At a higher integration, they are present, finally finding joy within. And then we have 9, the adaptive peacemaker. 9s are diplomatic and attuned to the ideas of others, often as facilitators or mediators in groups. They form the glue between the people with their friendly, grounding, and stable demeanor. They struggle to connect their own point of view, to say no, and often will avoid conflict. At high integration, they're independent and self-respecting, acting with self-awareness and autonomy. So that gives us a little bit more to work with. Is it the perfect description for everyone all of the time in their life? No. We grow and change as people. And just because you have a base personality type doesn't mean you're not going to see other personality types sprinkled within that may adjust how you react to certain situations. But so far, I think that these do fit the women that we see on Sister Wives pretty well. And one of the most interesting sections on the Enneagram Institute was one I didn't even have to go searching for. It was literally listed directly below their forward descriptions. And it explains how they deal with anger, shame, or fear. Because it appears that there are 3, it sort of cuts the graph into 3. So 9, 1, and 2 tend to feel anger, where in that same situation, a 3, 4, or 5 might feel shame, and a 6, which is me, a 7, and an 8 tend toward fear. So those kinds of things can kind of help us see just a little bit why they act the way that they do. So I have a little bit of what we typically would do in those circumstances. So 3s will try to deny their shame and are potentially the most out of touch with underlying feelings of inadequacy. This comes directly from their website. 3s learn to cope with shame by trying to become what they believe a valuable, successful person is like. They learn to perform well, to be acceptable, even outstanding, are driven relentlessly in their pursuit of success as a way of staving off feelings of shame and fears of failure. We have seen just how driven Mary has become, what with the B&B and her clothing business and everything else. And I think she does. She's even said, the B&B became my safe place. It became my safe place. It became my safe place. It's almost her way of hiding that shame, that fear of failure, of her relationship with Cody, even well before she decided to end it. It was a place where she could take all of those feelings and put them in the box in Flagstaff, go to her B&B, and not have to open the box. 4s will try to control their shame by focusing on their unique and their special particular talents, their feelings, and their personal characteristics. 4s highlight their individuality and creativity as a way of dealing with shameful feelings, although 4s are the type most likely to succumb to feelings of inadequacy. 4s also manage their shame by cultivating a rich, romantic fantasy life, in which they do not have to deal with whatever their life seems drab or uninteresting to them. I would say that we can look at Robyn a little bit and extrapolate from there about her rich, romantic fantasy life. She-Ra, anyone? and how she's constantly told us that she wants her relationship to feel like an all-the-time honeymoon. That's not necessarily the most realistic goal or option that one could have, but it is a goal that she seems to retreat into. Then we have our sevens, which is Christine. They have a fear of their inner world. The feelings of pain, loss, and deprivation, and general anxiety that sevens would like to steer clear of as much as possible. To cope with these feelings, sevens keep their mind occupied with exciting possibilities and options. As long as they have something stimulating to anticipate, sevens feel that they can distract themselves from their fears. They don't stop merely at thinking about them, however. As much as possible, they'll actually attempt to do as many of these options as they can. The sevens can be found staying on the go, pursuing one experience after another, and keeping themselves entertained and engaged with many ideas and activities. If that if that isn't Christine keeping herself constantly busy, and of course raising all the kids, and choosing to just be constantly on the move, on the go, doing. We even see Christine really struggle with downtime when the kids go to school and it's just her and Truly, and she's not quite sure what to do with herself. So that's kind of just an interesting thought from there. So then we have our Janelle, 9. They deny their anger. And instinctual energies is to say, what anger? I'm not an angry person. 9s are the most out of touch with their anger and instinctual energies, often feeling threatened by them. Of course, 9s get angry like everyone else, but try to stay out of darker feelings by focusing on idealizations of their relationships in the world. We cannot deny that some of that speaks to Janelle. We mentioned with Mary as a 3, she would be prone to denying shame, like denying the full scope of the catfishing, denying the dissolution of her marriage. Those are 2 things that perhaps would be sort of inner demons that she would want to keep pushing that down. Janelle's like, we don't really get angry, but yeah, we fight. And yeah, she definitely has some idealized ideas about her relationship with Cody, still talking back on fond terms about how they're best friends and they communicate so well. But it's just this sticking point right here. And Robyn. Oh, Robyn. She often highlights her ability to speak Cody. And she really had this fantasy idea of how polygamy should work, and frankly, how everyday life around her should be. And Christine, of course, I understand the most. Keep occupied. You can't deal with fears and feelings if you need to put them away for later. And you don't ever have to let later be a real time that actually happens. So I did look a little bit into the compatibility of the different types, and I have a very brief breakdown. The most interesting ones were 3s and 4s. So Mary and Robyn can have great relationships because 4s can help 3s open up and speak more deeply about themselves. This also comes from the Enneagram Institute. They tend to be very good at coaching 3s tend to be very good at coaching 4s in practical matters of life. However, since both are seeking validation, they'll often compare themselves to one another. And because 3s more openly seek that validation, 4s can feel very overshadowed and want to sort of push the 3 away. Also, I looked to see how would Mary pair up with her sister wives. 3s and 7s can be a good match, but things tend to burn out very quickly because shared characteristics can quickly become very overwhelming. And we saw that for a while they were good friends, and then eventually it just sort of burnt out and they had to stop because things were too tense all of the time. Also, 3 and 9 can be a great pairing, but it will fail when 9 is unwilling to confront issues they may have with a 3. And 9 feels it's best to say nothing and hope it works out on its own, where that's not really how 3s feel about the situation. So Mary and Janelle would have some difficult time. So I went on to go and check, and of course we just talked about how Mary and Robyn would pair. And Mary and Janelle, their personality types tend to have difficulty. They tend to agree on the privacy and autonomy side of their relationships. They sort of want to be able to both keep things to themselves. But when 4 becomes over emotional and 9 shuts down, 4 will often see that in a very contemptuous way. Why aren't you getting emotional with me? Why aren't you feeling the same things that I am? Why are you shutting down and asking me to leave when I want to talk about this and you don't? Sort of reminds me of the conversation they had where right after Janelle's mother died and Robyn said she was grieving the family while Janelle was grieving her mother, and Janelle was like, well, just about done here. That's sort of an example of that. However, 4s and 7s. This is a long one, and I think it's important. I am going to read verbatim, which I have been doing quite a bit of from the Enneagram Institute. And like I said, I'm going to link all of this down below. I don't ever want anybody to think that I'm just like hiding sources or anything. This is really important. 4 and 7 can be a case of opposites attracting. Because of how different they are, there does have to be something greater to draw them together. Any disagreement early in the relationship, and it can be over before it began. This is a direct quote following. 7s can also see 4s as hypersensitive, ineffectual, impractical, moody, and self-absorbed. In addition, if the relationship worsens, 4s usually become withholding and hostile, sniping from a safe distance. 7s become more impatient, abrasive, and can potentially be verbally abusive. 4s may want to talk about everything that has gone wrong with the relationship in great detail with a 7. By contrast, 7 typically want to move on to something more promising and upbeat. The result is that the underlying problems do not ever get resolved. Once this relationship curdles, virtually everything each admired and was attracted to in the other becomes irritating and insufferable. End quote. Christine explained to us that fight that she and Robyn had, where she attempted to speak with Robyn about the disagreement, where they attempted to work it out, and then Robyn just kept bringing it up, and Christine's like, I thought we had moved on. That's sort of a perfect example of what that's talking about right there, where a 7 will think, we talked about this is over, and a 4 wants to dwell. They want you to stay there with them, wallowing, until they feel validated in their emotions, in whatever dramatics they feel they need to have shown to the world or taken care of. But I did all that, and I'm sure your eyes are glazing over going, Cozy, girl, your videos are usually so fun, they're usually so great, and you have just thrown a wall of words at me and my brain is melting. How about this? You guys keep asking me, what do I think Cody is? So I'm going to come to an admission. Cody is either a 4, or embarrassingly, Cody and I are both 6s. I lean toward 4. I could see 6. Being that I know that 6, whose name is the Loyalist, values loyalty, trust, and reliability overall, and becomes very anxious all of the time, needing those things to be met, needing to be met with validation, and will often take things that bring them great anxiety and shove them away, pretending either that they don't exist or eventually having a complete mental snap where they will try to resolve all of them at once, which doesn't tend to succeed. That's the personality type that I have, and I make no bones about. I'm not going to hide. That is me. I am probably a lower integrated 6. I feel a lot of anxiety. I do silly things like that. But at higher integration, 6 can bring out the most confidence in the people around them, because when 6s feel confident, they exude it to the world and they share that confidence with other people. And I would love to continue working on my own self to get to that point. We already know what a 4 is like. And so while I didn't go necessarily looking to see what a 4 and a 6 relationship would look like, I did want to point out what a double 4 might look like, because that is the other personality type I thought Cody might have. So I'm going to read verbatim from the Enneagram Institute again. Quote, because each person in a double 4 couple is so attuned to their own emotions, there's a great deal of sensitivity and respect for individuality and each other's emotional needs. They have the ability to laugh at themselves and to find amusement with each other in the dark loneliness of their childhood and adolescence. They're not put off by unearthing deep psychological and personal issues. Both are encouraged with the artistic and creative efforts of the other and find it easy to communicate about the most private and intimate issues as they arise. They feel that their relationship is truly a safe space where the other is on a similar emotional wavelength. Both feel less alone and less like something is wrong with them personally. Double fours are highly romantic and idealistic as a couple, and their intimacy has the potential to grow into a grand passion of virtually operatic proportions. Emotional ups and downs, hopes and disappointments, elation and despair tend to make this couple more focused on itself than on practical life, child raising, or their careers. Enormous candor, deep friendship, and consideration for the unique history and emotional needs of others would be the hallmarks of this relationship. End quote. There are a lot of words that we've used in that we have heard just in this tell-all alone. But it wouldn't be fair if I didn't say what the negatives are to a double four relationship, because I think if this is the relationship that they are in, if there's not a change in the way that they are speaking, if there's not no. If the way they are speaking on the tell-all is their true reality, this could potentially be their problem. For all their potential sensitivity, fours tend to withdraw from others and to hold their attention and affection when they're having a conflict with someone. Fours have a profound lack of trust in others, and this lack of trust can extend even to their intimate partner. A period of testing will invariably happen that will be too much for the other four to bear. They can be annoyed by the other's quirks and sensitivities and unacknowledged demands. They can be intolerant of the other, making the other walk on eggshells, ironically making it difficult to bring up certain issues with the other. It's just interesting that I read through that and I can see a little bit of how that relationship has played out on screen. Once again, I'm no expert. This is all just for entertainment purposes. I'm alleging all of this. This is not truth. This is not fact. This is just simply finding the information, because after the tell-all, people were going, what was this personality test? What in the world is going on? I am so confused. So I wanted to go find some information. I love to go try and find these things. And I'm not an expert. I just have Google, a keyboard, and a willingness to try and understand. I thought it was worth the look. It was a lot of fun to do. I am going to leave the links to everything down in the description below, so you can check it out and you can take a look and see, well, maybe I think this, or maybe I think that, or maybe I feel this about my own self. None of the links are sponsors of this channel. This channel is far too small to have sponsors. But none of them are, and I'm not necessarily endorsing anything specific on the links. I'm just sharing them as resources that I used in order to find the information that I shared with you. Other than that, that's really kind of everything that I have. I am hoping to be able to get my normal recap video out tomorrow. I've been dealing with a little bit of medical stuff today, so if it's a little behind, I am so sorry. That's why this was so far behind. And I'm not going to dive exceptionally deep into this section in that video again. I think we covered it fairly well here. This was a lot of wall of words. I'm sorry, but maybe you got some value out of it. And if you did, fantastic. I'm excited. So I will see you back here with our Sister Wives recap very soon. Bye-bye.